There lived a young girl named Clara. She was a bright and curious child with a heart full of wonder and a mind full of questions. However, despite her many strengths, Clara had one major weakness: she was deeply afraid of being bullied. As soon as she started attending school, Clara noticed that some kids would tease her for her shy demeanor and her love for reading. They would call her names, push her around, and make her feel like she was all alone. Clara tried to ignore them, but their words cut deep into her heart. She began to feel like she was worthless, like she didn't deserve to be loved or respected. As the days went by, Clara's fear of being bullied only grew stronger. She started to avoid going to school, preferring to stay at home and hide behind her books. Clara couldn't explain the depth of her fear. She felt like she was drowning in a sea of anxiety, and she didn't know how to escape. One day, Clara's teacher, Mrs. Thompson, noticed that she was absent from school again. She decided to visit Clara at home and talk to her about what was going on. Mrs. Thompson sat down with Clara and listened patiently as she poured out her heart about the bullying she had been experiencing. Mrs. Thompson's words were like a balm to Clara's soul. She encouraged Clara to face her fears head-on rather than letting them consume her. Clara took Mrs. Thompson's words to heart. She started small, by talking to a trusted friend about what had been happening at school. The friend listened with empathy and support, and Clara felt a weight lifting off her shoulders. Encouraged by this small victory, Clara began to take steps towards reclaiming her life. She started attending school again. She joined clubs and activities that interested her, and she began to make new friends who accepted her for who she was. As the days turned into weeks, Clara's fear of being bullied began to dissipate. She realized that the bullies were not worth her time or energy, and that she was strong enough to overcome their cruel words. With each passing day, Clara felt herself becoming more confident and self-assured. She always remembered Mrs. Thompson's words: "You are not alone, and you are strong enough to overcome the obstacles." Clara was no longer afraid of the bullies. They were taken aback by Clara's bravery. Clara learned that overcoming fear is not about eliminating it entirely. It's about learning to live with it in a way that doesn't define us. She learned that we are stronger than our fears, and that we have the power to choose how we respond to them. As she looked out at the world around her, Clara knew that there were still many challenges ahead. But she also knew that she had the courage and resilience to face them head-on. For in overcoming her fear of being bullied, Clara had discovered a strength within herself that would serve her well for the rest of her life.